Okay, right, let's start. So while the students are coming, I'll just let them in one by one. Okay, but because of yesterday, we are really behind. And my target is today to finish Unit 6. You will be having your quiz on Sunday. That would be Unit 4, 5, and 6. So every 3 units, there is a quiz, okay? Right, okay, good. Now, just to make this quicker, because we didn't read C, and my intention here is really just so that you know how to form questions using the past simple, okay? So we're going to listen, and while you're listening, please fill in the blanks, okay? I will share my screen again with the sound. Okay, and one more thing, before I start, I just want to set a rule again, a strict rule. If you want to answer, okay, raise your hand. If you want to participate, raise your hand. If you're not raising your hand, okay, I will not be going and scrolling down and looking for people who are not raising their hand and then calling you. Okay, it's only 1 hour, and Atigo has given me a certain time to finish the book. Okay, so if I will be stopping at each picture, at each exercise, it will consume a lot of time. My target is really, if you have noticed until now, it's now Unit 6. I even do skip some exercises in between. So before the lesson, I really do sit down and I have a look at all these exercises, which are useful, which are really important for you. And I try to choose only these exercises. And here and there, of course, there is also a speaking in between, even when I'm talking to you. So again, if you have a question, you can raise your hand. If you want to participate, you can raise your hand. If you want to answer a question, you can raise your hand. Feel free to do that. Again, I'm not going to choose anyone who is not raising the hand. There are plenty of students who are very active, they're very good, they're improving with the language, they're learning, and I can see that. So preference will be given to those who are raising their hands, okay? So preference is to those who are raising their hands. Let's start with the listening.
6.4 C. The move to England.
Philippe Curtius died in 1794 and Marie inherited his waxworks. 1 year later, she married Francois Tussaud and 2 sons were born. But the marriage was not successful. In 1802, Marie moved to England with the waxworks and her son Joseph. Francois stayed in France with the other son. Marie couldn't speak a word of English, but she worked hard and she started touring the country with her models. She visited over 70 towns in 33 years. The English were fascinated by the wax masks of dead French aristocrats. In 1835, she opened her first museum in Baker Street, London, and she worked there until 1842. She died in London on the 16th of April, 1850. She was 88. In 1884, her grandsons moved the museum to the Marylebone Road, where it still is today.
Okay, I'm going to play it again, okay? And while you're listening, please try to complete the questions, okay, with the missing words. I think we did already do a few, just as an example. Okay, here we have a few more. This is, I think, where we stopped. Where did Mary marry? Who did Mary marry? How many children did she have? When did she move to England? Okay, and so on. So the next 5, 6, 7, and 8, I'm going to play the audio again. Please listen and try to complete the questions.
6.4 C. The move to England.
Philippe Curtius died in 1794 and Marie inherited his waxworks. 1 year later, she married Francois Tussaud and 2 sons were born. But the marriage was not successful. In 1802, Marie moved to England with the waxworks and her son Joseph. Francois stayed in France with the other son. Marie couldn't speak a word of English.
Okay, here, for example, they say Marie couldn't speak a word of English, but she worked hard. Okay, so did she blank any English? Just a hint. Okay, I don't need the answers now, but just this is how you need to find the answers. Okay, I'll continue.
But she worked hard and she started touring the country with her models. She visited over 70 towns in 33 years. The English were fascinated by the wax masks of dead French aristocrats. In 1835, she opened her first museum in Baker Street, London, and she worked there until 1842. She died in London on the 16th of April, 1850. She was 88. In 1884, her grandsons moved the museum to the Marylebone Road, where it still is today.
Okay, Noha, please.
Yes, number 5.
Mhm.
Did she speak any English?
Very good. Did she speak any English? Thank you, Noha. Lulu. Number 6.
Yeah, yes. Wait. I think did the English like the death mask?
Yes, did the English like the death masks? Good,
Yes.
thank you. Abdulila? Number 7.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you go down? Where and when did she open the first museum?
Where and when did she open
The first
museum? You know what is a museum?
متحف. I think like place with the old thing like this, right?
Exactly, and you're thinking correctly. It's a place where you find old historical things that you can see and read about. Okay, good. Thank you, Abdulila. Now, can I have Haneen? Haneen Abdullah.
Yes, miss.
Mhm.
Did she die in London? And how old was she?
Did she die in London and how old was she? Perfect, all correct. Are there any questions? Is there any word which is not clear here? Okay, great. Now we're going to move to page number 62. Okay, page number 62, and we will do number 1. Okay, now these sentences with the blanks you have to complete with did, was, or were. Okay, did, was, or were. You have to choose the correct word. Okay, now we are going to continue now with Imad.
Yes, miss. Number 1. Where
Mhm.
were your parents born?
Where were your parents born? Continue.
2. Where did you live when you was a child?
Where did you live when
When you were. Where?
Yes,
Sorry.
exactly. Okay, good. Imad, where did you live when you were a child? I'm asking you.
Yeah, here in Saudi Arabia.
You have always been in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Ahmed, please. Number 3.
Did you live in a house or a flat?
Did you live in a house or a flat? Continue.
When did you start school?
Okay, great. When did you start school, Ahmed?
Yes.
When did you start school? How old were you?
Um, in I was 7 years old.
You were 7 years old. Okay, great. Thank you, Ahmed. Jafar, please. Number 5.
Who was your first teacher?
Who was your first teacher? Continue.
Who was your best friend?
Who was your best friend, Jafar? Did you have a best friend?
Not really.
Not really. Do you now have a best friend?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. No problem. Okay, Jawad, please. Number 7.
When did you learn to read and write?
When did you learn to read and write? And we already have the answer for 8. Can you read this?
When did you get your first mobile phone?
Do you remember when you got your first mobile phone, Jawad?
I think I was 13 years old.
13 years old, then you got your first mobile phone. Okay.
Yeah,
Was it a smartphone?
yeah, it's smartphone.
Okay, good. Great. So this was page 62, number 1. And here we are just going to do, I have to skip a few exercises here now because of the lack of time. Now, here is a list of, as a few words in the box you see are irregular, okay? What is the past simple form of these verbs, okay? And on your on page 155 in your book, there is a list of all, or you can say the most frequent used irregular verbs. You can have a look at them. How do you remember them? You have to memorize them. You really have to memorize them, okay? So let's have a look. I just had Jawad. Shema is next. Shema.
Yes, miss. Yes.
Can you give me the past simple of the words in the first row?
Become, becomes.
No,
لا became.
Yes, very good. Continue.
And beginning is began.
Yes.
And come, it's came. Came. Okay. Cost, it's cost.
Yes.
And give, it's actually give. G-A-V-A.
Gave.
Gave. Okay. And go, went.
Yes.
And fly. Flat, I think.
No. Fly and flew. I flew to Morocco last year. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Shema. Sultana, please. Sultana.
Yes. Make, made, meet, meet, I don't know, meet.
Meet and met, M-E-T, met, okay?
Met, okay. Pay, bought.
Pay and paid.
Paid. Spent,
spend and spent.
Spent. Yes. Take, take, took. When,
win.
When. I don't know when.
Win, to win something, or I can say, not or, sorry, the past tense of win is won, okay? Have a look here.
One.
Here, won, took, spent, paid, met, made, flew, went, gave, cost, came, began, and became. Okay, good. Are there any words, I'm asking everybody, are there any words which are not clear? Okay, good. Now we're going to have a listening now, page 63, number 5. Now, what is this listening about? You're going to listen to Lime. He's talking to his dad and he's reading a card, okay? So what you need to find out is two things. Which events does Lime know about? Which events does he know about? Which does his dad remember? Which events does Liam know about, and which events does his dad remember? Now I'm asking you, what is an event? What is an event?
Something that happened.
Something that has happened. For example, can you give me an example?
Like the birth of my brother and Eid.
Exactly.
These
are events. Okay, very good. Or it could also be an incident. Something happened around the world and everybody knows about it. Everybody is talking about it. It could be an incident as well. Shaima?
Miss, it's like Expo, what we have in Dubai?
Yes, this is also an event. This is an event for a couple of days. Shaima, is it for a few days or is it weeks?
It's for, there's a lot of days.
For months.
Month, yeah.
Okay, it's
Many
for
of months. Many
Okay. I saw the opening. I saw the opening. It was quite
it's
a big
so
blast.
beautiful. Yes.
It was really beautiful. Okay, good. Now let's listen to Liam. Let's see what is he talking about. Okay.
6.9 2001. The year you were born.
Hey, Dad. This is a really cool card.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Did you know any of the events on it?
Well, obviously I knew about 9/11.
Yeah. You were born just 2 weeks after that, on September the 25th.
Yeah, exactly 2 weeks after. And, of course, I knew that Bush was the US president at that time. But, I didn't know Putin was the Russian prime minister. What do you remember of 2001?
Well, of course, the best bit was when you came into the world.
That goes without saying. But what about the rest?
Let's see the card.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the foot and mouth crisis. That was terrible. The poor farmers.
Oh.
It went on and on. Your mum and I couldn't go walking in the countryside. And I couldn't play golf. The club was closed. And you know how I love my golf.
I do. So, do you remember Tiger Woods being Player of the Year?
Oh, yes, Tiger Woods. I remember that. And I remember buying my first iPod. That was great. All my favourite songs in one place. You know I'm a big Beatles fan.
So, you obviously remember when George Harrison died?
Yes, I do. But it wasn't as shocking as when John Lennon was killed in New York in 1980.
Yeah, I know about that. What about Harry Potter? Did you know that the first film came out in 2001?
No, I had no idea when it came out. I saw the film years later with you.
Yeah, I loved all the Harry Potter books and the movies. Now, the last thing, the Tower of Pisa. Didn't we have a holiday in Italy when I was very young?
Yeah, you were 5, I think. But we weren't near the Tower of